Police have been searching for Richard Matt and David Sweat.
The search for the two fugitives riveting the nation.
More than 1,000 searchers starting day 21 of the manhunt.
On June 5th, 2015, Richard Matt and David Sweat accomplished something that hadn't happened in over 100 years. They escaped from the maximum security prison, Clinton Correctional Facility, located in Dannemora, upstate New York. It took 6 months for the inmates to cut, smash, and shimmy their way to freedom.
And action!
Meticulously recreating the escape for Showtime's limited event series, Escape at Dannemora, was over 2 years in the making.
I mean, for me, the reality aspect of it was the most interesting thing.
When you shoot in a real location where a real event happened, there's a seriousness to it.
It's scary, it's also exciting.
The fact that it's true, it's really a sensational story.
And I think that's what makes this show unique.
I felt that it was very important to try to get the actual people who worked on the manhunt or were in the prison to help us and tell us what really happened.
I'm Chuck Guess. I'm a retired major from the New York State Police, and I was the incident commander for the Dannemora escape in 2015. From my point of view, there was no way I'd be involved in this project unless it was going to be portrayed authentically.
It's based on a true story, so what better way to tell a true story than to be true? I'm Eric Jensen, and I was incarcerated at Clinton Correctional Facility.
I thought about it, and I said, well, if somebody's going to tell the story, it might as well be me because I was there. I'm Chris Milady. I was the corrections sergeant in charge of the tailor shops at Clinton Correctional Facility.
I said, I gotta get into this series because I want to make my fellow brothers and sisters look good. I'm Jim Mahar. I'm a retired correction officer for 7 years now. The first jail I ever worked at was Clinton Correctional Facility.
Every time I look out the window, I see myself out there, standing in the street.
There's no way to actually put it into words, the feeling of walking in there as an inmate. You feel helpless, you feel hopeless.
I've been to a lot of prisons, you know, in my duties as a state trooper, and this one was the most dynamic and monolithic.
Well, Clinton Correctional is very old. It's like its own little city. We have our own hospital, you have your own industry. They hire inmate tailors, and then they produce the goods. It could be pants or shirts or T-shirts or whatever.
I will warn you, I have high expectations for output this week.
David Sweat and Richard Matt, I knew them. I worked with them in the tailor shop.
Joyce worked in the tailor shops along with me, and her husband, Lyle, worked there also.
When I walked into the set of the tailor shop and I sat behind the sewing machine, I got nauseous. I had to excuse myself and go to the bathroom and throw up. It was that real.
I opened up the door and walked onto the set. I thought I walked into Taylor 2 and Clinton Correctional Facility. It was just amazing on the detail of it.
Camera set.
And action.
Ben was very, very adamant about the veracity of the project down to the background. And I think the most amazing thing about Escape at Dannemora is they casted retired corrections officers and over 200 real inmates.
3, 2, 1, action.
When I went to Pittsburgh, we did the fight scene over there. When I got there, I noticed a couple people eyeballing me. And I was like, God damn, I know those guys. One used to be in my jail. No, 2 were in my jail.
We walked into the set. I see these 3 guys over in the corner staring at me. So finally, one of them walked up to me and he goes, do you remember who I am? I said, yeah. And he goes, well, we know who you are. I go, well, are we okay with that? And he said, yeah, we're okay with that. And we shook hands, and that was the end of it.
We all shook hands, and we said, hey, at least we're all on the same team now, working for Ben Stiller.
I just want to say you guys did an incredible job, so thank you very much.
As you've heard, 2 people escaped from Clinton Correctional Facility. This is a first time in this institution's history.
Richard Matt and David Sweat were convicted murderers.
They were on the lam for quite a while, right in our backyard, and it was scary. Everybody was packing heat, everybody had a weapon on them.
I turned on the TV, and I'm like, wow, they had help.
Police have been everywhere here. There have been snipers, FBI agents, forest rangers.
By the time we started shooting the search segments involved in the manhunt, we had reached out to members of all of the local state and federal agencies involved in this effort. We were exceedingly fortunate to get the actual 7-member tactical team of BORTAC, who had deployed from Texas in 2015. They came back to reprise their appearance for the series. They flew in a Border Patrol supplied helicopter and landed in the middle of the road and deployed into the woods exactly as they did during the day of the manhunt.
We were a couple hundred yards north, so what we did is we got in a linear formation
and push down this way.
And it was just amazing how quickly the emotions and the senses come back, particularly when we're dealing with helicopters and ATVs and a tactical team, and we're recreating events that happened just a short time earlier.
How the hell did this happen?
Honestly, we don't know. Where's the superintendent? Want to talk to him?
That'd be nice.
From my perspective as the law enforcement consultant, we worked very hard to ensure that what was portrayed on the law enforcement end was accurate. There was no stone left unturned. There's no substitute for getting the real people involved in an incident of this magnitude, and it shows.
Go ahead, guys. Lots of action, lots of energy. Thanks.
Just to be a part of Escape at Dannemora is very humbling, but I'm also like so proud because, to be able to come from there and then to tell a story about there to the world is like opposite ends of the spectrum.
Working with all the ex-inmates, all this hate went out of my body and went out my window. These guys that I worked with, they did a crime, they did their time, they got out, they're all doing productive things now, and that's a good thing to see. You don't see many people get out and change their life like that, and it was moving for me, it really was.
Being a corrections officer, you carry around a lot, and to get that positive message from Jim and to see Eric Jensen and Chuck Guess and Chris Milady, who had been in a different situation, working together, it was pretty incredible.
I want to thank Superintendent Kirkpatrick and Deputy Superintendent Bell, who have been incredibly gracious and opened up the facilities. This really is unprecedented.
Definitely for me, one of the highlights was just getting to know the people in Dannemora and spending time with them. That was really, I think, the most exciting part of the whole shoot, to be able to have that reality in the show. For us to be able to actually have access to that place was pretty amazing.